all glories to Sanatana Goswami. Prabhupada. They are satisfied simply to worship Lord Hari with devotion. They travel freely wherever they want, protecting and promoting the cause of the Lord's devotees and the Lord's devotional service. Commentary. The devotees of Vaikuntha do not want to equal Lord Vishnu because they want to serve him in loving devotion. Nothing other than bhakti gives them pleasure. In Lord Vishnu's own words, Maya santushtha manushaha manashaha sarva sukha maya disha. One whose mind is completely satisfied in me finds only happiness wherever he goes. Bhagavatam 11.14.13. These eternally liberated Vaikuntha-vasis are always helping others. Acting in the material world, they protect sincere persons from misunderstanding the principles of devotional service and thereby falling down and being punished by the agents of Yamraj. The Vaikuntha-vasis encourage the descent of advanced devotees into saintly families, act for increased prosperity and influence of those devotees, and render unseen help to the devotees' preaching, by which more and more conditioned jivas are brought back to Krishna consciousness. As instructing spiritual masters, the Vaikuntha-vasis and their representatives remove the obstacles of attachment to karma and jnana and inspire their disciples in various ways to dedicate themselves fully to Krishna's service. Because the residents of Vaikuntha are free from restrictions of karma, their efforts never go in vain. Text 47.
Masi, can you just go up in that sloka? Further up? Okay. One whose mind is completely satisfied in me finds only happiness wherever he goes. 11, 14, 13. This is a very important uh, this thing quotation from the Bhagavatam that um, see, performing devotional service to Krishna is one thing, but being completely satisfied in Krishna is a different thing. One can perform devotional service to Krishna yet not be completely satisfied. So here it speaks about one whose mind is completely satisfied in me finds only happiness wherever he goes. So what is the cause of dissatisfaction in even though someone may practice devotional service? What is the cause of dissatisfaction? That is because if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvalokam moheshwaram suhurdam sarvabhutanam gyatmamam shantim prachati. So it is because of not being fully at the very least acceptable of that principle. As acceptance of not being in acceptance of that principle at the very least, that is what causes a dissatisfaction. So if one knows that the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of everything that be, there is nothing in this world, including our bodies, which belong to us. Everything is the property of the Supreme Lord. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. So we don't have, if we don't have a enjoying mentality, but rather an offering mentality. Okay, there is something called grabbing mentality, then there is something called the offering mentality. I'm just using that word grabbing in the sense that it's more easier. It works very well in contrast to offering. So you're grabbing something, you're offering something, right? So the same thing can be grabbed or offered. So any activity in this material world where that we perform can be done with both the consciousness and the result also. Can be done in that state of consciousness, either in the grabbing state of consciousness or offering state of consciousness. So when one does in the offering state of consciousness, knowing that all ability in us comes from the Lord, all things belong to the Lord. Therefore, everything, every activity, every person, uh, every uh, everything that we find in material nature are all meant to be offered to the Supreme Lord. And then we understand that He is Suhrit. Suhrit. Suhrit means He is the most well-wishing friend, which means that uh, uh, well-wishing Prabhupada explains that there are different kinds of friends: Bandhu, Mitra, and Suhrit. Suhrit means that friend who has your best interest in heart. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, I was today's Ekadashi lecture in ISKCON Mayapur, where Prabhupada is speaking about this concept of Suhrit. So he says that in the material world, even your best friend, while offering something to you, still has some personal motive involved in that. So then, because that personal motive is involved, technically it cannot be called suhrit. But nevertheless, for practical purposes, we say suhrit. Then Prabhupada explains that how, for the practice of devotional service, vairagya is important actually. That sense of things are not for me. And Prabhupada explains very nicely in the lecture that in India, people may be apparently pious, but then they are all getting entangled with this concept of education, family life, and all these kind of contraptions of material nature in the name of dharma. Of course, he's not promoting adharma, but the point that Prabhupada was trying to make is that there's something even better than that. Which so the people are completely entrapped by that whole concept of I should be a good son, I should study very well, and settling the children, as Prabhupada says. Parents are all obsessed about settling their children. So, what does settling their children mean? Prabhupada explains settling their children means settling their children in Griha Medi life. So and he says that this is a big obstacle, and then he says that he's fond of the hippies. He says that. I don't know if they use the word fond, but he says I like the hippies very much. Something like that he says, not very much. By the way, he speaks very clearly. He says he likes the hippies. And then he says, why does he like the hippies? He says because they have a sense of renunciation. They have a sense of renunciation. So therefore, he says, I like them. So the point that then Prabhupada says that if uh, um one acts in that consciousness, then Krishna becomes Suhrit, he says. Of course, Krishna is Suhrit in all circumstances, but the point that he's trying to say is then Krishna becomes Suhrit, which means that Krishna gives himself to such a person. That's the understanding. Which so when it says Krishna is Suhrit, it means Krishna gives himself to such a person, which means, and Prabhupada explains there that Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. Because one does not simultaneously, one is not thinking, let me become a big man in this material world and all. The Prabhupada explains very nicely in the lecture. He's not thinking about all these things. He is interested only in Krishna. Therefore, Krishna becomes Suhrit, he says. So Krishna does everything for him. So one whose mind is completely satisfied in him means these three things, that if he accepts that there is nothing in this world which belongs to me at all, and then he also understands that I should not be in the state grabbing consciousness. I should be in the state of offering. He's the Yajna Tapasam, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. He's the ultimate enjoyer. And the third thing is that when one acts in such a state of consciousness, then Krishna becomes Suhrit, which means he does everything for you. You know, like what is it that causes distress generally or anxiety, when we have to do, like for example, there is this class which ends at 5 o'clock or 5:15, then we have to do something, right? And the very thought that you have to do something produces some kind of anxiety, obviously, because you have to plan it, you have to prepare, you have to do something, you know. So it is when we have to do things, then there is a certain sense of anxiety. But one who's completely satisfied in Krishna means, okay, whatever Krishna wants, and I just want to please him, then what happens is that Krishna does everything. No. So then what do you have to do? Nothing. Krishna is making all the plans, Krishna is doing everything. Yogikshemam vaham yaham. So you're only finding happiness wherever you go. Like suppose you travel to a place. The best experience that you would have in a place is from the time that you leave your home till the time that you reach there, and while you are there until you come back and whatever, if everything is taken care of, then you have very nice experience, no? You have all your, I mean, your travel, your accommodation, your food, everything is taken, your experiences there, everything is taken care of. Then you feel only happiness there, right? So this is the state of consciousness of a person this is what happens to a person who's completely satisfied in Krishna. Wherever they go, they find happiness because there's nothing they have to do. Everything is being arranged by the Lord. Okay, I think it's just two lines, but then it just made me uh, think about all these things, and I mean, I just felt I should speak on it. Any thoughts or questions or reflections on whatever I spoke so far, or we'll go to the next text.
Yes, Prabhuji, this kind of a mentality, how does it come? Does it, as we chant and as we grow in bhakti, does it come automatically?
Nothing comes automatically in bhakti. Nothing comes automatically. There's nothing called automatic. Um, it comes only by our performing bhakti with a desire to uh, attain love for God, attain to serve Krishna. So that's why Rupa Goswami says, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati Tatra Lolya Mulyam Ekam Janma Koti Sukriti Na Labhyate. So the price for attaining pure devotional service, price for attaining love of Krishna is laulyam, the greed. And then he says that Tatra lolyam mulyamekam janma koti sukriti na labhyate. So one cannot attain that by performing even koti. I mean, koti all of us know from India. That even by taking crores of births, one cannot still attain that laulyam. But if that is available somewhere, somehow, then one should immediately accept it. One should immediately buy it. I mean, so one should immediately accept it. So that the point is that that is the price that one has to pay to attain love of Godhead. Therefore, Prabhupada insists that everything in our Krishna consciousness depends on attitude of the follower. So unless we chant with the proper attitude, unless
Mm.
we perform devotional service with the proper attitude, unless that attitude is the most, unless that becomes the central feature of everything that we do, automatically it's not going to happen. With that component of attitude is the most important component which enables us to attain love of God.
Okay, Prabhuji.
The process may be repetitive, but uh, the attitude keeps expanding, and the experience of the activity also keeps expanding. Activity may be repetitive, but the attitude involved in it keeps expanding, and the experience of the activity keeps expanding. Why? What do you mean by attitude keeps expanding? Just like Srimati Radharani, she thinks that I don't have any devotion for Krishna. And initially, I mean, when we hear that, okay, the gopis love Krishna so much, they love Krishna so much, we hear that word, they love Krishna so much. It's just an English word, right? they love Krishna so much, they love Krishna so much. Oh, they're the greatest devotees, but we don't get a sense of what it means. But when we practice bhakti and when we hear when we hear about these devotees from the Bhagavatam, from the Krishna book, when we hear, then slowly we begin to understand what is the exaltedness of their love, you know. And what's it? So that love comes with a certain kind of attitude. It's perfected attitude. Right now, we're trying to practice certain attitude. But once we attain perfection, it's called the perfected attitude, you know. So the gopis have the highest perfected attitude of serving Krishna. And so much so that when Uddhava visits Vrindavan, he's so overwhelmed by seeing, I mean, what kind of people are these? You know, means in the sense that he was Krishna's personal advisor and confidant, you know, but he has never seen something like the love of the Vrajavasis for Krishna, especially the love of the gopis for Krishna. You know, so it is, and I think we also in our practice we begin to uh, as we progress, we begin to get a sense of what must be the love of the Vrajavasis for Krishna, because we begin to see how much we are looking at everything in terms of how we can be happy, you know. But the Vrajavasis are of a different kind of, I mean, people. They only think about how Krishna can be happy. So much so that when the Radharani gets angry and leaves the arena and all these kind of things, it is simply because she wants to give more pleasure to Krishna. It is not she's thinking, oh, Krishna, I mean, I'm not special. She's not thinking like that. Anyway, those kind of things, how can we even begin to comprehend? But just by hearing about the Vrajavasis, by reading the Bhagavatam, then we begin to get a sense, I mean, what kind of love, what is the depth of their the love for Krishna. So like that, so attitude is something which keeps expanding, and the experience keeps expanding. For example, it says that the Golokira Prema Dana Harinama Sankirtana. It is Prema Dhana. It is the love, it is the wealth of love. You know, it's like it is wealth in the sense that today Elon Musk is considered the most richest man in the world. And people are so crazy about what is it about him, and I mean about how great he is, you know. And similarly, when I think Lionel Messi visited India, people are going crazy about him, you know. But here we have daily, you know, it's daily. We have Golokera Premadhana. This is not even the wealth of this material world. Material world itself, people, I mean, are very rich like Elon Musk or Ambani, whatever, you know. But this is not even wealth of this world. This is Golokera Premadhana. It's the wealth of the highest planet in the whole creation, you know. Or you could say, yeah, one sense you could say creation, but yeah, in the sense that okay, ultimately everything expands from Krishna. So this is the prema dhana. So that prema dhana is available to us every day. So we are actually millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, whatever, on a daily basis, but we don't recognize it. We don't recognize it. So, when did I say this? Yeah. So, even on a daily basis, it may appear to us that we may be repetitively chanting, but daily we are accessing the prema dhana of Goloka. This is the reality. This is the reality. So, once we begin to chant with that understanding, with that mood, how fallen I may be, but I have been given the Premadana of Goloka, you know. So how fortunate we are. So like that, Robert taught us like, we should genuinely cry like the child for its mother. You know, the child has no other means of being pacified than being in touch with the mother. You know, so Prabhupada was explaining to his class, Akinchana Vitta. Akinchana Vitta means he is the property of one who does not possess anything else. If you don't possess anything else, then Krishna becomes your possession. You know, it's like, of course, if you want it, of course. It's not that automatically you don't possess anything, automatically Krishna becomes your possession. No, it's not like that. But he's akinchana with, Prabhupada explains very nicely. He's akinchana. Kinchana vitta means if you don't possess anything else, then Krishna is your possession. And if Krishna is your possession, that's it. I mean, he's the highest possession you can ever have. So, this is the kind of uh, the fortune that we are living with. So uh, it's not automatic. It's not automatic. We need to be practicing Krishna consciousness with the sense of with that attitude of how fallen we are, but we have been given this great good fortune, and we need to become greedy for attaining that for attaining love of Godhead. And of course, Prabhupada always explained that the easiest way uh, to develop that attraction for Krishna is to hear from the lips of the pure devotees. And here we have the Bhaktivedanta purports, and here we have Gopi Paranda Prabhu, Sanatan Goswami speaking here. So we have the fortune of associating with these personalities, and they may not be in their physical form, but this is called the bhava form, bhava expansion. Like when Krishna left Vrindavan, you could say he was unmanifest. So, but Prabhupada says that Krishna was present in his bhava form. So this is the bhava form of Gopi Parandan Prabhu, the bhava form of Sanatan Goswami. So we get to associate with the bhava form of all these great personalities when we read the Bhagavatam. So by that, and also by physical association, but that's why it said the bhava association you can get at any point in time, but physical association you may not get at all times. Therefore, it said that the vani, the presence by the vani or the bhava, this thing, that is more important, it says, because that is it accessible all the time, no? But nevertheless, the physical association also is important wherever you can. So therefore, it's important that we hear Bhagavatam in the assembly of devotees. We get to serve devotees, So that attitude of understanding that all our good fortune is made by Srila Prabhupada in the association of the devotees that he has created. I think I went on for a long time. Okay. But the topic is very interesting. So. Okay, so any thoughts, questions, reflections, or we'll go on to the next verse? We'll take it maybe at the end.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please
Yes, ma'am.
accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you said process is repetitive, but the attitude and the experience keep expanding.
Yeah.
So experience, I could understand a bit, but attitude, I still not very clear how the attitude expands. I mean, the attitude you mentioned about Brijvasis or Radharani thinking that very with in a at a humble position, but how to understand it with the this line that attitude keeps expanding.
Attitude is a feature of consciousness, and consciousness keeps expanding when in association with the Lord.
Yes.
It is limited when out of touch with the Lord, but when you connect it to the Lord, the attitude keeps expanding. In the
Yeah.
sense that I don't know how to. Yeah, maybe we should look at the dictionary definition of attitude. But the understanding, but the basic understanding of attitude is that uh, how great the Lord is, and how insignificant and fallen I am,
Mhm.
and how kind the Lord is through the medium of His devotees. That is the essence of all attitude, actually. That what is it? How great the Lord is, how insignificant we are, and how compassionate the Lord is through the medium of His devotees. Directly also, of course, but especially Lord does not come all the time, no, in His physical form. So generally the devotees were there throughout history, and the Lord also appears as Archavatar, and Bhagavatam is also the avatar of the Lord. But those are not, those forms of the Lord are not, you cannot interact with them in the manner that you interact with somebody, somebody in their physical presence, right? So like that. That's why I said through the medium of his devotees and himself also. Sometimes directly being present, but other times being present through the book, the holy name, the uh, the deities, and so on. So that's the essence of all attitude. Is that therefore Prabhupada says that if you realize that the Supreme Lord is the master of everyone and everything, and you are fallen in this material world, and then you realize what a dangerous place is this. Therefore, you will start crying for the Lord, that like the genuine cry of a child for his mother. So Prabhupada said this is the Krishna consciousness movement is meant to teach devotees to cry for Krishna. So Prabhupada has essentially opened a crying school. It's the crying school.
What are the two things you said, Proji? When do we start crying for Krishna? You said if we.
No, I said that if we realize that, what is it? Okay, we realize that, what is it? We as living entities are meant to be with Krishna, and what a dangerous situation it is to be in this material world being separated from Krishna. Then we begin to cry for Krishna. No, that I mean, we don't realize what a precarious situation that we are in. Therefore, the Bhagavatam gives all kinds of examples, sometimes to make us understand. The Bhagavatam gives the example of the hunter, you know, and the deer is just enchanted by the beautiful music, but the hunter is just going to kill. So, like that, it gives various analogies to make us understand the precarious situation that we are in. Because the problem is that our knowledge is covered by the covering potency of Maya. No? So because that covering potency, we are not able to see the danger before us. Like Prabhupada says, no, just like the goats, before going to slaughter, nicely they're eating grass. But they don't know they're going to be slaughtered the next minute. Right? So we need, that's why the Bhaktivedanta purports and the scriptures, they put us in touch with reality, that this is a very dangerous place. So then you begin to cry for Krishna. Oh, no, no, I need to get out of this place. Yeah.
Prabhuji, so nicely you've concised it about attitude, that to know how great Krishna is, to know how insignificant I am, and to know that Lord is so merciful and that mercy is coming to us through the medium of his devotees.
Yeah. Also through his, through his physical presence also, and through his Bhagavad Gita, through his Bhagavatam, through his Archa form also. I mean, I'm just saying, uh, but we follow the process of Mahat Seva, right? That is a prescribed method. Uh, Among all the types of worship, the worship of the devotees of the Lord is higher than the worship of the Lord himself. This is the verdict of Lord Shiva, the greatest among all Vaishnavas. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnu aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi. What is the next line? Nato parataropa. What's it? Anyway, tasmat, tadiyam, what is it? What is that last line? Anybody remembers?
Samarchanam, I remember the last word.
Uh, Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnu aradhanam param
The devotees of Vaikuntha do not.
Sorry.
tasmat parataram devi tadyanam samacharam, something like that. Yeah. That even higher than the worship of the Lord is the worship of the devotees. So yes, so the in that sense, yes, the Lord, the primary medium of mercy for us is the mercy of the devotees. Therefore, Prabhupada would often say that I don't know Krishna, but I know my Guru Maharaj and he knows Krishna. So that's the approach we take. We don't approach Krishna directly. No? We approach Krishna through the devotees, through the parampara. And so for us, worship of the devotees is more important than worship of Krishna. That does not mean that we don't worship Krishna because devotees are asking us to worship Krishna. But in terms of importance, yeah. Okay. So we'll go to text 47. Okay. Muktan upahan upahas muktan upahassantiva vaikunte satatam prabhum bhajantah pakshi vrikshadi rupair vivida sevaya.
Always worshipping the Lord in Vaikuntha, they seem amused by those who are merely liberated. The Vaikuntha Vasis are always busy in various services, for which they even take on forms like those of birds and trees.
Text
Verse
48.
48.
Kamala Lalyaman Nangri Kamalam Modavardanam Sampashyanto Harim Sakshad Ramante Sahate Naye.
They can always see him in person, Lord Hari, who inspires everyone's pleasure and whose lotus feet are cared for by the goddess of fortune. The life in his company is pure joy. Commentary. Those who have attained liberation from material existence enjoy boundless varieties of loving service. Only foolish, unfortunate persons ignore such opportunity and instead pursue an impersonal idea of liberation. The devotees in Vaikuntha feel compassion for the impersonalists, but it seems that while exuberantly serving Lord Narayan, the devotees ridicule the impersonalists by taking on the forms of animals, birds, and plants. Impersonalists cannot understand the difference between the tamasic forms of lower life in the material world and the transcendental varieties of life in Vaikuntha. Still, Vaikuntha devotees never actually make fun of others to belittle them because devotees are always kind to the fallen. The Vaikuntha devotees never indulge in useless frivolity, which is a deviation from the mood of pure devotion. That many kinds of animals and plants live in Vaikuntha and that they all enthusiastically serve the Supreme Person is confirmed by the descriptions of Srimad Bhagavatam 3.15.18 to 19.
Masi, can you just go up to the first paragraph? I think what is because it says two different things. One, those who attained liberation from material existence enjoy boundless variety of loving service. Only foolish, unfortunate persons ignore such an opportunity and instead pursue an impersonal idea of liberation. The devotees in Vaikuntha feel compassion for the impersonalists, but it seems that while exuberantly serving the Lord Krishna, the devotees ridicule the impersonalists by taking on the forms of uh, animals, birds, and plants. Impersonalists cannot understand the difference between the tamasic forms of lower life in the material world and transcendental varieties of life in Vaikuntha. Still, Vaikuntha devotees never actually make fun of others to belittle them because devotees are always kind to the fallen. So what is Sanatan Goswami saying here? The devotee never Vaikuntha devotees never indulge in useless frivolity, which is a deviation from the mood of pure devotion. I think that what he's saying here is that it may seem like they're taking that forms to ridicule uh, but they're actually not doing it to ridicule. I don't know. That's the sense I get. Anybody has any comment on that? That's the sense I got. Otherwise, it's contradictory, no?
Right.
They
Krishna
may
Prabhuji.
take. I think let's go ahead with the purport. There maybe become more clear.
Prabhuji, even this is a little confusing to me. But it seems that while exuberantly serving Lord Narayan, the devotees ridicule the impersonalists by taking on the forms of animals, birds, and
Correct. But
plants.
so what he's trying to say is that it seems like it is seemingly it appears like that they are taking the forms to those forms to ridicule them, you know. But in reality, they may not be taking the
Yeah.
forms to ridicule them. That's what it appears to me. Let's
Mm-hmm.
let's let's read the next paragraph and then I think it'll become okay. Okay, so I'll read the text here. Uh, Paravatan ya britta sarasa chakravaka datyuha hamsa shuka तित्थिरि बर्हिणाम यहा कोलाहलो विरमते चिरा मात्रम उच्चैर बृंघादिपे हरिकथाम इव गायमाने मंदार कुंद कुरबोत्पल चंपकार्न पुन्नगा नाग बकूलाम्बुज पारिजातः गन्धैर्युते तुलसी का भरनेन तस्य यस्मिंस तपः सुमनसो बहु मानयन्ति. Please go ahead, man.
When the king of bees hum in high pitch, singing the glories of the Lord, there is temporary lull in the noise of the pigeon, the cuckoo, the crane, and the chakravaka, the swan, the parrot, the partridge, the peacock. Such transcendental birds stop their own singing simply to hear the glories of the Lord. The flowering plants like the Arna, Kunda, Utpala, Champaka, uh, Bakula, Ambuja, Mandara, Punaga, Kurabaka, Parijata, and Nagarkshela are
Nagakeshara. Nagakeshara.
Nagakesha, thank you, Broji, are full of transcendental fragrance. But still, they are conscious of the austerities performed by Tulsi, for Tulsi is given special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself with Tulsi leaves. Lord Shiva uses the present verb from Sampashyantah, seeing, to indicate that Vaikuntha devotees see the Lord without interruption. By this, he implies that he, in contrast, can see Lord Vishnu infrequently and then only within his heart.
So I don't think there's anything any further which is spoken about it. But my understanding is that they don't take on these forms of birds or animals to ridicule the impersonalists, but it seems like that. That's all.
Hmm.
Because they are not interested in frivolity or trying to do these kind of things. But it seems like that. You know, like how do you say? That's not the intended purpose, but it also seems to have that effect. That's all.
Mhm.
So the does it mean the impersonalists are able to see what is in Vaikuntha?
No, no. What is mentioned there is that they will think it is tamasic. No, you look at that.
Acha. They if they get to know about it, they will.
No, they do. I mean, like impersonally cannot understand the difference between the tamasic form of lower life in the material world and the transcendental varieties of life in Vaikuntha.
Okay.
So basically, it's not that the impersonalists. I mean, they're also aware, no? When Krishna appeared, he appeared. I mean, in Vrindavan, there were all these animals and all these whatever, you know.
Mm.
So they cannot understand that that they're from a they're in the transcendental plane. You know, like for example, like I was explaining that according to the Mayavada philosophy, uh, Brahman touched by the mode of goodness is Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva, the five Panchopasana deities, Ganesha, the five deities of whom they worship. Then the Brahman touched by the mode of passion is the Jivas, and the Brahman touched by the mode of ignorance is the what do you call it? The Jagat, material world. I guess that also includes the other forms like animals and so on. So that is their conception. So for them, animals are tamasic. That's all. So even though they may see some animal with the Lord, they'll just think it is the Lord. That's their conception. They have no conception of animal which is not tamasic. That's all. So I don't think this is uh, referring to their being able to perceive the residents of Vaikuntha. No, no, I don't think that's what is being spoken here. What is being spoken here is their conception of everything in relationship with the Lord. Not necessarily that, I mean, they're thinking that there's a spiritual world where the Vaikuntha Vasis are living and all these kind of things. They don't have access to that at all, no. They only know about impersonal Brahman. Is that okay? Or no? Because if you see here, um, go to the text, Mataji. Can you just go to the text? Yeah, the text, the translation. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it's very clear, but it's not like, see, if you look at, like, take from the first sentence, okay? Those who attain liberation from material exists enjoy boundless varieties of living, loving service. Only foolish, unfortunate persons ignore such an opportunity and instead pursue an impersonal idea of liberation. The devotees in Vaikuntha feel compassion for the impersonalists because only foolish, unfortunate persons ignore such an opportunity and instead pursue an impersonal idea of liberation, right? They are ignoring opportunity to enjoy boundless varieties of loving service. Okay, only foolish, unfortunate persons ignore such an opportunity and instead pursue an impersonal idea of liberation. The devotees in Vaikuntha feel compassion for the impersonalists, but they don't even have. They don't understand such an opportunity. They pursue impersonal idea of liberation. The devotees in Vaikuntha feel compassion, but it seems that while exuberantly serving the Lord Narayana, the devotees ridicule the impersonalists by taking on the forms of animals, birds, and plants. So it is just like a seeming, I don't know how to put it, no, like for example, it is more like you see something, like for example, how do you say? If a tall person is walking in sync with a very short person, you know, it may appear like the tall person is ridiculing the person who's short. But it's just not happen. It's not necessarily that they're doing it by conscious intention. They just happen to be walking together. That's all. At some point in time. So like that. So by comparison, it is a what do you call it? It is seeming. That's why I think the word seemingly ridiculous there used there. It is not by deliberate intent, but it's just the irony of the situation that there is so much variety of even the life of a bird and animal is so ecstatic there in the it's a variety of devotional service. It's an ecstatic variety of devotional service. But here are the impersonalists who cannot even conceive of a plant or an animal or what is it? Yeah, they cannot conceive of a bird or animal other than the tamasic conception of life. That's what it is. So the very fact that they're taking the body itself is a ridicule of the impersonalists. That is what is being meant here. I don't know, is that okay or no? Still, the Vaikuntha Vasis never actually make fun of the others to belittle them. Because devotees are always kind to the fallen. Because it's not by deliberate, that's what is being said here. They're not actually doing it to belittle them. You know. So the idea is that in Vaikuntha Vas, the idea is that they're talking about who has got the highest devotion for Krishna. That is the whole context of the discussion here. And here the Vaikuntha Vasis are being described. So the Vaikuntha Vasis are first of all being compared with Vaikuntha Vasis who are even in the form of animals and birds. They are being compared with different kinds of transcendentalists. That's what it is. Like for example, here they are being compared with the Brahma, what is it, impersonalists. First of all, that was, and then later on you can see in the paragraph as the paragraph proceeds. You can just go down, but yeah, come down further. Look at this. The king of the bees, is hums in a high pitch. Normally, the humming of a bee is not considered very great. This thing, but look at these. Look at the words. Cuckoo. Cuckoo is considered a very beautifully singing bird. Chakravaka. I mean, the parrot. They're all beautifully singing birds. Peacocks. The cooing of the peacock. But when the king of bees hums in such a high pitch, singing the glories of the Lord. This is the point that is being made there. Such transcendental birds stop their own singing simply to hear the glories of the Lord. The flowering plants, and because of Tulsi's position, you know. So, so Lord Shiva uses the present verb form, sampashyantaha, to indicate that Vaikuntha devotees see the Lord without interruption. By this, he implies that he in contrast can see the Lord infrequently, then only within his heart. Basically, he's trying to say that those devotees of the Lord who are thinking of the Lord and serving Him are in a very exalted position. That is what he's trying to say. They're constantly serving the Lord also. Here he says that he sees Him infrequently and then only within his heart. But look at these people. They're constantly, look at the bird, look at the humming bee, and look at Tulsi. They're constantly in the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and serving Him. Yeah. So apparently, bee is lower than a singing bird. Obviously, such beautiful singing birds. But considering the fact that they're devotees of the Lord, that gives them a very exalted position. So, if you take the same example, they may be animals or birds, but they are a far more exalted position than the Mayavadis or the impersonalists. Because they're devotees of the Lord, they're enjoying transcendental variety by rendering, because they have only a concept of tamasic form, that's it. So they cannot forget about conceiving of, even if you tell them that there are birds and animals in the spiritual world, they'll still say that, okay, whatever you may say, whatever world you call it, they'll simply say they're tamasic, that's all. They don't have a conception other than tamas for these kind of entities. Is that okay or no? Somewhat. Is it okay? I mean, I didn't.
Yes, Rory. Yes, Rory. Thank you.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead. So after I should read, right? Okay. One sec, one sec. अहो कारुण्यमहिमा श्रीकृष्णस्य कुतोऽन्यतः वैकुण्ठलोके यो जस्रं तदीयेषु च राजते.
Ah, where can one see compassion so exalted as that which Sri Krishna showered constantly on the residents of Vaikuntha Lok. Text 50.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Should I
what is the
read?
text number? Text number?
50, 50,
50. Okay.
50.
Okay. Go down. यस्मिन् महा मुदाश्रान्तं प्रभो संकीर्तनादिभिः विचित्रामन्तरा भक्तिं नास्ति अन्यत् प्रेम वाहिना वाहिनीम्.
In
In
Vaikuntha,
yeah.
yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead, go ahead. Please go ahead, go ahead.
In Vaikuntha, nothing exists but devotional service, rendered through Sankirtan and in many other forms. It goes on incessantly with great enthusiasm, spreading the ecstasy of pure love. Commentary. Devotees in the spiritual world never tire of chanting the Supreme Lord's glories and singing and dancing for His pleasure. Their prema bhakti is the only activity. Anything anyone does in Vaikuntha is pure service and nothing else, because all the residents are fixed unswervingly in bhakti.
Unswervingly.
Unswervingly.
Sorry, I had to read, right? Okay, 51.
So,
अहो तत् परमानंद रसाब्धेर महिमा बुतः ब्रह्मानंदस तुलाम नार्हेद यत कनार धाम शकेन च.
how amazing is that supremely great ocean of transcendental bliss! The bliss of Brahman cannot compare to even a fraction of half a drop of it. Brahmananda is the happiness derived from realizing one's spiritual identity, compared to the joy of sharing one's personal relationship with the Supreme Spirit. Brahmananda is insignificant.
Text 52. सा वैकुण्ठस्तदीयाश्च तत्र यम अखिलं च यत् तदेव कृष्णपादाब्जा परप्रेमानुकम्पितम्.
That Vaikuntha world, its residents, and everything there are blessed by the mercy of pure love for the lotus feet of Krishna. Commentary. In contrast, Lord Shiva implies his own planet and other material worlds do not have the blessings of Krishna Prem.
Just go read that one sec. Just go ahead. One sec. In contrast, Lord Shiva implies his own planet
And
and
other material
other
worlds
material worlds. Okay, all right.
do not have the blessings of Krishna
Okay.
Prem. Text 53.
तादृक्कारुण्यपात्राणां श्रीमद्वैकुण्ठवासिनां मत्तोऽधिकतरस्तत्तन् महिमा किं नु वर्ण्यताम्.
As recipients of such mercy, the divine residents of Vaikuntha are much greater than I in many ways. How can I adequately describe their glories? Commentary. Every resident of Vaikuntha is Shriman, entirely favored by the goddess of fortune, the consort of Supreme Lord. Each of them, therefore, has access to the full wealth and power found in millions of universes. But because the Vaikuntha are pure devotees, they prefer not to take advantage of these blessings for anything but the opportunity to serve their Lord. This distinguishes them from the conditioned souls of the material world.
Text 54. Panchabhautika deha ye martyaloka nivasinaha bhagavat bhakti rasika namasya madrisham sada.
Though living within the material world in bodies composed of the five elements, persons expert in relishing devotional service to the Lord are always worshipable for persons like me. Commentary. Wherever in the material world the mood of Vaikuntha is found, Lord Shiva worships the carriers of that mood as his superiors. He expresses this same attitude in the Narayana Vyuha Satstava of the
Hayashri,
Hayashirsha
Hayashirsha Pancharatra.
Panchara.
ये त्यक्त लोक धर्मार्था विष्णु भक्ति वशम गताः भजन्ति परमात्मानं तेभ्यो नित्यं नमो नमः.
To those who have come under the influence of pure devotion for Vishnu and have therefore abandoned their worldly religious duties and profitable endeavors just to worship the soul of souls, I constantly offer my repeated respects.
Text 55. Sri Krishna Charanam Bhoja Ripitatmano Hi Ye Kila Tad Eka Prema Labhasha Tyaktartha Jana Jivanaha.
Such experts, relishers, surrender themselves fully to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, hoping to obtain exclusive love for him. They abandon their wealth, their families, and their very lives.
Text 56. Aihika musmika shesha sadhya sadhana nisprihaha jati varna shramachara dharma dhinatva paragaha.
They are not interested in any of the means and ends of success in this world or the next. They have gone beyond subservience to the rules that apply according to birth, occupation, and spiritual status.
This is a very interesting word text. You need to look at what it says. They're
Hmm.
not interested in any of the means and ends of success. It's a very interesting. Can you just go to that word by word meaning? What it says? What is the word for success there?
Sadhya.
Sadhya, end of success. Sadhana. Of course, sadhya and sadhana here could refer to spiritual processes, but in general, it is just
Hmm.
a term for any activity in the material world. The sadhya and sadhana. I mean, basically, it means not necessarily only yoga, but anything. Sadhya is the ends of success. Yeah. They are not interested in any of the means and ends of success. That's quite interesting. It's it. I mean, everybody in this world are trying to be successful, right? But they have
Mhm.
lost interest in all these things, means and ends of success. They have in this world or in the next. They're not interested in success. They've gone beyond subservience, the rules that apply according to birth, occupation, and spiritual status. Varnashrama. When spiritual status here refers to Varnashramachara, not referring to some bhakti status.
Okay.
It refers to ashrama status, birth, I
Hmm.
mean, Varnashrama status. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's quite interesting, right? How if you tell somebody it's so counterintuitive that devotees are not interested in the means and ends of success. Yeah, it's quite.
The world is driven for, I mean, like success is the only
Yeah.
factor which is driving the world today.
Don't try for success. Imagine telling somebody, don't try for success.
Yeah.
Don't try to be successful. Yeah. It's quite a powerful statement. I think we should have. I was thinking during college days, I used to have different kinds of T-shirts. One T-shirt had said, I mean, we used to get it printed, customized, custom printed. So one of the t-shirts I had said that those who look for God at the 11th hour die at 10:59. You
Hari bol.
So yeah, so I mean something like that, some things which shock people, like for example, if you write something like this on a t-shirt, then don't try for success, something like that, or success is boring, something like that, or success is irrelevant.
They stopped printing that one?
Sure. No, man, that I did it myself.
Okay.
I mean, during those days where the days when screen printing came and all that, no?
Mm.
So you had a lot of young people getting into all these kind of things. So there were some young people who were doing that. So just go and give them, and they're very enthusiastic about. So they make it for nowadays. Also, you can get these kind of things.
Yes,
No, you have these companies which custom make these things for you, slokas for you.
yes,
I
yes.
wrote, I had another one, but which that was a little bit difficult for people to understand. But anyway, I took it from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. What is that? The nomenclature of the absolute truth, Krishna. You know, like that. That's a little difficult for people to catch. The other things are more. I remember a few others I had. I don't remember. I'll recollect and tell you next time.
Very interesting.
Very interesting, really. Yeah. And just jolt the others to reality.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it? There is a few things which are very like counterintuitive kind of things were there.
Yeah,
I
awaken
saw that.
them.
Yeah.
Mm. Text 57.
Yeah. What is it? Yeah, I'll tell you. What is that? What is it? Um, uh, because they think religion is like some kind of opium for the mass, right? Okay. So I don't remember the exact wording. What was it? Something like no uh, M within brackets ASS mentality. You know. So you got that? So no
No,
mass
yes.
mentality it is, but M is
Mentality.
within bracket.
M.
So then you generally read as. So
As.
that is it.
Interesting.
Okay. So 50 text 50. Okay, I think we'll stop with this 57. So 57, text 57. Rinatrayad anirmukta Veda marga tiga api haribhakti bala vega aku akutishchid bhaya sadha.
Even if they have not repaid their three debts and are therefore transgressing Vedic principles by the power of their devotion to Lord Hari, they are ever fearless.
I can
Very
go on to
good.
the next text. There it's an interesting series of verses. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay.
Yes.
Nanyat kim api vanchanti tad bhakti rasa lampataha swargapavarga narakeshu api tulyartha darshinaha.
Greedy to taste the pleasure of devotion to Him, they have no desire for anything else. To them, liberation, heaven, and hell all appear the same. Commentary. Fearlessness and freedom from selfish desires are spontaneous symptoms of those who enjoy the transcendental tastes of Krishna consciousness. The residents of Vaikuntha are already perfect, but they humbly think themselves only potential candidates for Prema Bhakti. Aspiring to be awarded exclusive love of God, they abandon attachment to property and family. They're not even interested in protecting themselves from threats to their lives, since they have no desire for the worldly goals of prestige, security, and sense enjoyment. They have no urge to work to earn the money and pious credits required for obtaining these objects of desire. And as a further consequence of their freedom from material ambition, they have transcended identifying the self in terms of material social divisions. the Brahmana caste, and other occupational designations, and even human and demigod species. They have risen above the regular and occasional obligations of all these categories.
Basically, it means Nitya karma and Naimittika karma. That's what it means. Actually, that is translated as regular and occasional obligations. Nitya
Okay.
means you're supposed to do certain mandatory obligations are there. Then you have Naimittika, means which is optional. But these are things according to scripture. That's what they say. If you're born in a certain family, if you belong to a certain varna, then you need to do these kind of things. All these kind of things are there. So that's what those are regular and occasional. So Nitya and Naimitika. Okay, go ahead.
Bhakti supersedes all these.
No, where? Oh, you're talking to me? I didn't read
Yes,
that one. Yeah, yeah, Bhakti supersedes all this. But I'll speak a little on this
I'm
after
trying
we
to
finish the
understand.
Bhakti. Yeah,
Okay,
after we finish this, I'll speak a little. Just
okay.
a few minutes.
From the very day of one's birth, one is encumbered with three kinds of debts to the demigods who provide the basic needs of life. One owes the performance of sacrifice to parents from whom one inherits the good karma and cultural heritage of one's family. One owes offspring, and to the sages who teach how to fulfill the spiritual potential of human life. One owes study of the Veda. One who fails to absolve oneself from these debts by doing what is required and avoiding what is forbidden can expect severe punishment from Yavraj, the judge of the sinful.
ऋणैस्त्रिभिर्द्विजो जातो देवर्षिपुत्राणां प्रभो यज्ञाद्ययान पुत्रैस्तानि अनिष्टि अनिष्टीर्य त्यजन पतेत्.
Dear Prabhu, a member of the twice born classes is born with three kinds of debts: those owed to the demigods, to the sages, and to his forefathers. If he leaves his body without first liquidating these debts by performing sacrifice, studying the scriptures, and begetting children, he will fall down into hellish condition. Bhagavatam 10.84.39. The residents of Vaikuntha, however, are immune from the reactions for neglecting the laws of material nature. These Vaikuntha residents need not perform ritual sacrifices, beget sons, or study the texts of the Vedas. They have no fear of karmic retribution. Nothing they can do can be sinful. They can act confidently, however they wish, on the strength of their pure devotion to Lord Vishnu. Pure devotional service exempts Vaishnavas from karmic obligations of non devotees, as Lord Krishna has explained to two of his most trustworthy devotees, Uddhav and Arjuna.
तावत् कर्माणि कुर्विता न निर्विद्येत यावता मत् कथाश्रवणादौ वा श्रद्धा यावन् न जायते.
As long as one is not satiated by fruitive activity and has not awakened his taste for devotional service by Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, one has to act according to the regulative principles of the Vedic injunctions. Bhagavatam 11.20.9. Sarv- Sarva-
Sarvadharman Pratijya. This you know, right? Or no?
सर्वधर्मान् प्रत्यज माम् एकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचा. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Sri Narada also gave same instructions to Vyasadeva.
त्यक्त्वा
त्यक्त्वा
स्वधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं हरेत् भजन् अपक्वोऽथ पतेत् ततो यदि.
स्वत्र
यत्र यत्र क्व वा भद्रम् अभूत् अमुष्य किं को वार्त आप्तो भजतां स्वधर्मतः.
One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage. Yet, There is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non devotee, though fully engaged in occupational devotees, does not gain anything. Bhagavatam 1.5.17. The fearless residents of Vaikuntha are also free from all selfish concerns. Okay? They have no interest in transcendental perfections such as a personal form like the Supreme Lords. What to speak of the refined sense enjoyment of the residents of Lord Brahma's planet or the happiness of impersonal nirvana? In the eyes of the residents of Vaikuntha, everything other than pure love of God is not only insignificant but also detrimental to the advancement of bhakti. Thus, they consider impersonal liberation and being elevated to heaven the same as being sent to hell. Speaking here to Narada, Lord Shiva echoes his own words from the sixth canto of the Bhagavatam, 6.17.28. नारायण परा सर्वे न कुताश्चन बिभ्यति स्वर्गापवर्गा नरकेषु अपि तुल्यार्थदर्शिनः. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Okay, just a couple of things. One is that there is something called prescribed activity. There's something called prohibited activity. So there are various prescribed activities for the different varnas and the ashramas. So what is speaking about here is that if one does not perform the prescribed activities, there is no question of doing a forbidden activity. That is completely ruled out. What is talking about here is if one ignores performing the prescribed duties, not for forbidden duties. That's why when the word when Sarvadharman is quoted, Sarvadharman Pariteja is quoted, we are the only religion in the world who says give up dharma. No other religion in the world teaches anyone to give up dharma. They all teach everybody to practice dharma. We are the only people who say Sarva Dharma and give up dharma also. So to be able to give up dharma, one should be unflinchingly situated on the path of dharma, which means that it's not that one is sometimes performing some forbidden activity, sometimes performing dharmic activity. Cannot be like that. So Sarva Dharman Pariteja means one who's unflinchingly situated in dharma is eligible to give it up. That is what it means. So the explanation for that is when sannyasis in ISKCON started falling down, that's when Prabhupada wanted to institute the Daiva Varnashrama system. And Prabhupada very clearly explained, devotee means one who does not fall down. There's a question of devotee. Otherwise, he cannot be called a devotee. But they are falling down, Prabhupada says. Therefore, let them be situated in Varnashrama. So, one is eligible to give up Varnashrama if one is sure that one will not fall down into sinful activity. Prabhupada tried to do it in the beginning stages of the Krishna conscious movement. He said, okay, ignore all this Varnashrama thing. Just practice bhakti. But he did not expect that they will commit sinful activity. But when they started committing sinful activities, then Srila Prabhupada started talking about Daiva Varnashrama. At least they should be situated in dharma. They should not fall down into adharma. That's what it means. So here when it says one may fall down from the platform of bhakti, it is not referring about falling down from bhakti to adharma. It is talking about falling down from bhakti to dharma, not adharma. It says there's no loss even if one falls down. It's talking about falling down from the platform of bhakti to dharma. Then the question will come up, okay, now let's say a person has been practicing bhakti for 20 years. And suddenly he gives up the practice of bhakti and goes back to Varnashrama. Then what happens? Is he going to get slammed because 20 years he has not practiced the rules of Varnashrama? So that is saying, no, don't worry. That is not needed. That is what is being said here. So like Bhakti Charu Maharaj, when he was being given sannyas, Prabhupada's, his god brothers, Prabhupada's other disciples, they all expressed apprehension to Prabhupada that He just came now. He's only a few months. You're giving him first initiation, second initiation, you're giving him sannyas. What if he falls down? So Prabhupada gave an answer there that even if he falls down, he will fall down into dharma. This is what he said. So, so that is the concept of falling down. Falling down. But what Prabhupada got what he was referring there was, why are they falling into sinful activities? Sinful activity is not permitted. You know. So our devotees, either they are, I mean, generally, either they are talking about fully about bhakti, or when there's no bhakti, or fully about pure bhakti, or when there's no pure bhakti, they end up doing all kinds of sinful activities. That is craziness. That is not what is being spoken about in this verse. In this verse, it says that they have given up their prescribed duties. Forbidden duties, there's no question at all about. There's no very discussion about forbidden activities. Yes, I think I said whatever I wanted to say on this particular thing for this class. Any comments or questions on this?
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, Pranam
Please,
Prabhuji. Hare
please, Madam.
Krishna, Pranam to all devotees. So, so what if a devotee falls down to sinful activities, not the dharmic activities, not the prescribed duties? What if then? If he or she leaves bhakti and gets into all sinful or maybe one of the.
Correct. So, therefore, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says that if such a person, if they take on the attitude that is very shameful of what activity they performed, and one also is extremely shameful about what they did, and if the person also thinks that I am a shame on the society of devotees, two things: shame for oneself, shame for the society of devotees, then such a person should be considered to be rightly situated and one should continue one's practice of bhakti. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says there that that person may think that what a shame this is, that I have committed such a sinful activity. Then he or she should also consider, I'm also ashamed of the practice of society of devotees. Nevertheless, I shall never give up my practice of bhakti, because once I've accepted Krishna as my object of worship, I will never give it up under all circumstances.
Like Anodi and Guru Maharaj also recently said in his classes that atonement is only the practice of devotional service. The real atonement is to
Correct.
continue on this
Correct.
path.
But you cannot have a situation. I remember once one senior devotee, he was facing a situation of a fall down, but then I was passing by in one, passing by, and then I heard that devotee talking to some other devotees who were visiting or so. And then he said, okay, uh, see you all back in Vaikunta, something like that. Something like that. See you all back in the spiritual world, or something like that. So then I asked Gopi Parandan Prabhu this question. To me, that appeared very strange, because when somebody has a fall down, if they start talking like that, and somehow it just didn't. And then when Gopi Parandan Prabhu heard this, then he said, "Oh," that was his reaction. So he didn't say anything beyond it. He just said, "Oh." So the point is that what do you call it? One who is fallen cannot think the bhakti is the process of atonement, so therefore it does not matter.
Yeah.
That cannot happen. That cannot happen. It matters. It matters. It's not that it does not matter. It matters. But the point is, whether it matters or not matters, I will still practice bhakti. That is the idea. So if they practice with that mood, yes, it matters, but I still not give up the practice of bhakti.
The atonement should be there throughout the life. It's not like one day you said sorry to Guru and Prabhupada, and then you continue, and then you feel like that, okay, you are absolved now. So the feeling of prashit should be there inside every
Correct.
time.
Correct.
One should be feeling ashamed every time. Like this point, it should not, the regret thing that 2 days back,
Devamrita
Devamrit
Maharaj.
Maharaj was
Yeah,
saying.
correct.
It was wonderful lecture.
Devamrita
And
Maharaj
he
was
gave such a
lecture
nice
was
answer to your question also.
Yeah, Devata Maharaj is a very, very nice speaker, actually. Very nice class he gave on the
Yeah,
concept of regret in pure devotional service. Satsarup Maharaj also has written a lot on this topic. It's a very nice. So pure devotees means they'll always feel shameful for what they've done wrong. That's what that is. Of course, we are not talking about those who have descended from the spiritual world. Just talking about practicing pure devotees. They'll always feel regretful about what they've done wrong. Of course, the only problem is that there is something called tamasic regret. There is something called transcendental regret. In tamasic regret, what happens is that tamasic regret is self-centered, whereas transcendental regret is Krishna-centered. So in transcendental regret, one understands that, look, so I'm so insignificant, I'm powerless without the mercy of the Lord. Maya is so powerful that I can just get overwhelmed by Maya. I'm powerless without the shelter of the Lord. Therefore, let me take shelter of the Lord more strongly. That is called
yeah,
transcendental regret. But tamasic
mm,
regret is, oh, what happened? Look at this. No, I mean, I fell down. So what is the point now? The devotees, others what will they think of me? And what is my position in society? And so they become depressed. That's called tamasic regret. So that is not, that is a, that's devolution. It's not evolution. I mean, it's going to drag you down further. It's not, but transcendental regret is different. We are
yeah.
supposed to regret transcendentally, not in a tamasic manner. Yeah.
Yeah, but at that time, you should be there should be a hand holding of a senior devotee or your mentor to with matlab like with whom you are very comfortable and you have been grown in bhakti. Because if you don't have the association, right association, then also you tend to get into tamasic fall down. Then he or
Correct.
she may think that I cannot do any further.
It need not be just necessarily somebody of your mentor only. It should be a devotee in good standing. It can be
Yeah,
anybody. It need not be
with
only
whom
your
you
mentor.
can at
Because
least
you
share
may not
your
have a very good
thoughts.
relationship with your mentor, then what are you supposed to do? I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
but it has to be a devotee, obviously. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Prabhuji, here the three types of deaths are mentioned, but in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada mentions about five deaths. Like he mentions another shlok, Narini Narajan, like the means that, oh, Mukunda, please forgive me. Nee, like the devotee is seeking forgiveness from all the five.
Madhavendra Puri read
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, yeah. Then he says, I have taken shelter of Mukunda, so I don't, please forgive, please abstain me from, absolve me from all these duties. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Rudy, and the answers that you gave in the beginning. That the consciousness is very consciously, we should be thinking so that we are very insignificant.
Okay, so thank you all very much. Next Thursday, we won't have a class. I think we'll be able to have one the week after that. What is the next? Today's what date? Today's uh,
29
15th July.
Jan. 29 Jan.
Next Thursday is,
Guruji, next is 5th.
and then after that is 12th. Yeah, 12th, I think we can have a class. I mean, most probably, unless there is something which comes up, but most probably, yes. Okay.
Guruji, thank you.
Jai.
Thank you,
Vancha kripa
Guruji.
sindhubhyo
Thank
patitana
you.
Pranam Paak Mukho Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Prabhupada ki jai.